unemployment. Then did I hear Dr. Okuboi says we should not engage in comparisons between Ghana and Francophone countries? Oh, really? So is he suggesting that Dr. Bawumia was daft when throughout this speech he compared Ghana to Cote d'Ivoire? Or he hasn't read this speech? You see, these people, they think they are more intelligent than all of us, but they keep making a mockery of themselves. From this speech, page 1 to page 129, Bawumia compared Ghana to even the USA more than 10 times. And am I lying? And Cote d'Ivoire, is Cote d'Ivoire not a Francophone country? Even when you were in opposition, candidate Akufo-Addo then always compared Ghana to Cote d'Ivoire. Today you are saying we shouldn't compare Ghana to Franco. Okay, Nigeria is not a Francophone country. In 2020, their budget deficit was 5.8%. Yours was 15.7, times 3 of that. Are you not reckless? Did COVID affect Ghana more than it affected Nigeria? They lived within their means. They didn't spend recklessly for election purposes like you did. So is Nigeria to a Francophone country? You see how disingenuous you are. Then they say that Bawumia is not cooking figures. I've shown you that the Ghana Statistical Services don't compare inflation rates. He did that. And even the current inflation rate is higher than what we bequeathed to him. Deficits. You've been lying. The deficit has been below 5% before 2020. You go to the IMF for a rapid credit facility of 1 billion. And because you know that if you lie to the IMF, you'll be fined, you tell them the truth. That deficit for 2019 was 7.2%. Meaning that even before COVID, you had exceeded the legal threshold of 5% per the Fiscal Responsibility Act. This is the document you gave the IMF. And you are sitting on TV3 lying that, oh, Muntaka and Haruna Iddrisu.
He explained, no, not even about the Honorable Muntaka and Haruna. He explained
that they did below the line. So when they went to IMF, why didn't they do below the line?
So
when we came, you've been in the media for a long time. When we took office in 2009, and GCB and TOR were on the verge of collapse. And we had to solve that problem. Were we treating that debt, that TOR debt and GCB debt, as below the line? So why is it that when they went to the IMF, they didn't do that below the line analysis and they told them the truth? Then he sits on TV and lies again that the primary balance, he peddles falsehood. You like semantics. I will use the words you like, because a lie is a lie. But listen, when you were saying we're not complicated in the mind, you didn't say no. Let me make my point. He sits on TV and says they've been recording primary balance, positive primary balance for 3 years. The same old cooked figures that has been discredited. This is the document they presented to the IMF. Primary balance for Ghana 2018 negative 1.35, 2019 negative 1.65, 2020 negative 9.29, 2021 negative 6.47. What does this mean? Once you are running a negative primary balance, it means you are borrowing to service your debts. And this is the true state of our economy. Now the issue of excess capacity, I'll come back to COVID-19. Dr. Bawumia says, oh, the reason why our economy is in such a mess.
One of the reasons.
One of the reasons is not just because of COVID, but excess capacity. Because his government has spent 17 billion cedis on excess capacity charges alone from 2017 to 2020. I want to show you that this man is dishonest.
No.
This is...
So what I want to raise... I'm glad... No, so
can I respond? I'm making my submission. This is the parliamentary Hansard.
Okay, so that was what I wanted us to
17 June 2021. Prof. Honorable Suhini, MP for Tamale North, asked the finance minister a question. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, he wanted to ask the finance minister for information of which independent power producing companies have received payment from government of Ghana for excess capacity charges, and how much was paid to each company in the last 4 years.
Yes.
Then the finance minister responds, Mr. Speaker, the unlisted independent power producers has received payment for excess capacity charge for the period under review 2017-2020, totaling $937.50 million. AXA, the breakdown is as follows. AXA, $347 million. Car Power, $359. Sem Power, $231. The total is $937.5 million. In CD equivalent, even if you are going to use a CD rate of 6 Ghana cedis, you won't get more than 6 billion Ghana cedis. Where did Dr. Bawumia?
You said the date is 17th
June 2021. The latest communication by the Minister of Finance, who you claim supplied Bawumia with the information and the figures he put out. 2021. Forget about the lies you peddled in 2020 that you were paying $500 million every year in excess capacity charges, and you had paid $12 billion. When he appeared before the people's representatives, where he knew that lying could have consequences, he told the truth that no, it is only $937 million. Then Bawumia comes 1 year after and tells Ghanaians that they have paid $17 billion. It's a lie. And even this $937 million. So when he asks a follow-up question, check the answer. That means, Mr. Minister, how many megawatts of power are you describing as excess? The finance minister couldn't answer. He said he will get back to parliament till date. He hasn't gone there.
Okay, but that's obviously in the domain of the energy minister.
But he promised to get back to parliament, and he has not gotten back to parliament because you know why. What they are even describing as excess power is not excess power. Valco is not running. B5 is asking for more power. They are operating at 40% capacity because they don't have power. They have even given Grico and VAT a loan of $8 million for them to give them power. Napo is calling for Ghana to generate more power. You claim to have an industrialization agenda, one district, one factory, and you are talking about excess power. Tell us the amount of megawatts of power that is excess as we speak today. What they are doing is that ECG has been making technical and commercial losses in the last 3 years. Also, there have been tariff shortfalls as a result of they reducing electricity bills in 2018, but not paying for that debt to ECG so that ECG can pay the IPPs. They are putting all that together and they are calling that excess capacity. Okay. And that is why they can't give the breakdown.
Okay, so
again, they keep talking about the banking sector.
Let me just give, so Northern Electricity Distribution Company, for instance, as of last year, we are learning that they recorded a net loss of some 379 million.
Yes,
then we also
and they put it all together and they say it's excess capacity.
Okay,
if ECG,
but what I want to raise is, I'm told that there's a difference between excess capacity and idle capacity. What I'm learning from the IPPs is that they are being paid for idle capacity, because if you contract an IPP to construct a 200 megawatt plant and you take only 100 megawatts of their power, obviously they are not going to pay for the excess 100. So I understand that is a lot of what we are paying for. What we are paying for.
Do you know how they come by this whole excess capacity thing? They compare the power being produced by the IPPs, their capacity, okay? So they use installed capacity vis-a-vis why we are buying from them. But you don't use installed capacity. You use available capacity. Because Akosobo may have a capacity, installed capacity of about 1,000 megawatts, but they operate or produce 600 to 800 megawatts. So this whole thing about excess capacity is a barefaced lie, and we must call a spade and not a digging too. Now they complain about, oh, we've spent another 25 billion on the banking sector, and that is why the economy is in the mess. That is why the price of cassava has gone up. You see, Dr. Kobo says sachet water has gone up because the sachet rubber is made from hydrocarbons. So the hydrocarbons, they've gone up where?
No, the price of crude has gone up.
So what about maize? 170.
Yeah, but you need fertilizer. You need fertilizer to grow maize.
What about cassava? You don't need fertilizer to grow cassava. What about cassava?
But you cut it.
What about yam? Stop the excuse. You see, any government that keeps giving excuses for their own failings 6 years after being in office, including blaming the XY regime, is a useless regime. You've been in office for 6 years. You've had more revenue than any government. 3 oil fails. You borrowed more than any government. Look at all the COVID-related inflows you've had, and you keep on blaming the XY regime and making excuses for your failings. What is that? Okay, now they are even saying that freight has been going up. Under NDC, freight didn't go up. Under NDC, freight stood stagnant for 8 years.
So
is that your argument?
It wasn't stagnant, but it didn't go up for 3-fold, 5-fold.
My sister, you take your victim as you have it. He's a law student, he understands that. Let me tell you something. They have not recorded a collapse in commodity prices like we recorded in 2015. Gold came down drastically on the international market. BRIC nations experienced a meltdown. Oil came down from a projected $9,900 to less than $40. We grew the economy by 3.6% nonetheless when South Africa, Nigeria, Angola all recorded recessions, and they still blame us and criticize us for recording a growth of only 3.6%. Okay. When we didn't even produce oil for the greater parts of that year 2016, then you are saying that, oh, we have also had challenges, but discount those challenges. Do you discount our challenges from the economic position we bequeath to you?
So please,
banking sector,
help me clean up the banking sector.
Listen. when it gets to me, you stampede me, interjections and all that. Allow me to flow. When Okoboy was saying you didn't ask anything, let me make my point. I beg you. I can finish in just 4 minutes.
Okay.
Banking sector. Jiva, you take office, inherit a financial and insurance sector that was growing in 2016 at 8.1%. And you claim that sector was collapsing. Don't they understand statistics?
They didn't say
growth of 8. No, Bawumia has said it in this speech. I know what I'm talking about. That the financial sector we bequeathed to them was on the verge of collapse. I'm saying that sector grew by 8.1% in 2016. So that claim is a lie. Now, some of those banks were challenged because of bad corporate governance practices. Some of the directors had misconducted themselves. And we said, look, you don't have to throw the baby away with the bathwater. And that you can deal with those corrupt directors and shareholders without necessarily destroying these banks. You can save these banks and financial institutions with just about 5 to 10 billion and protect about 50,000 jobs. They said, no, we will collapse the banks by borrowing 25 billion to pay depositors. And we don't even care if 57,000 people will lose their jobs. So they borrow 25 billion, collapse the banks, 57,000 people have lost their jobs. They've said they've paid the customers, use it as campaign for all the credit and the plaudits they can get from that. And if that has had a negative effect on the economy, you say, oh, it is because of that. You had an option, you could have saved the banks. Indian's bank would not have gone down if you had paid the contractors who owned him, who he supported. The first bank would not have gone down. And by the way, let me tell you something, Prof. You may not know this. Do you know that among the banks they collapsed was a solvent bank, Heritage Bank? Solvent bank. They never defaulted in paying one of their customers. Heritage Bank was a solvent bank. You collapse solvent banks because of politics, because you claim Seydou Agongo, the main shareholder, is an NDC man who got money from Cocoa Board.
I don't know.
That was the reason. Go and read the Bank of Ghana statement. They said that the money he used.
What I know is that there was a concern about meeting the requirements, and there was there was a view that they could not be sure about where the funds to support the bank let me remind you. Came from.
I know that very clearly.
Yes, because
let me tell you what it was. They said that the funds he used in establishing the bank, that minimum capital, came from proceeds of contracts he did for Cocoa Board. And that since he was being prosecuted in court in relation to those contracts, they are revoking his license. When any criminally accused person should be presumed innocent until proven guilty. And so now if Seydou Agongo is acquitted by a cause, what would you have done to him? You have destroyed the solvent bank. You collapsed Construction Bank. Who launched Construction Bank? Construction Bank was launched in 2017 by Dr. Bawumia and Addison. How can you blame that on President Mahama? So what they are saying about the banking sector crisis is neither here nor there. Now they say that.
Dispute that potentially the view of analysts is that if we had continued supporting the banks, because they were getting support from the Bank of Ghana anyway, and I know there have been critics who say that there are people at the Bank of Ghana whose heads should have also rolled for the lack of enforcement.
But that's the difference between John Mahama and President Akufo-Addo. Even though Capital Bank, even though the board of Capital Bank was chaired by a known MPP sympathizer, Reverend Utabel, a man I respect so much. And the rest. We gave them money. So if they misuse the money, what you can say is that go after them. Are you getting me? But you can't say that President Mahama was wrong in bailing out banks all across the world.
No, I don't think anyone has said President Mahama.
That is what you are saying. Didn't you? Were you not listening to Okoboy?
No, sir. What he said, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, is that government made an effort to save the banks.
Yes.
But the banks...
not all the banks.
Okay. The banks...
Heritage Bank was solvents.
Okay.
Construction Bank came under them. Let's not put the issues together.
Hold on. He gave the example.
If Unibank had been paid their arrears, they would not have collapsed. Let's talk about
that funds were provided, yet they continued in their same reckless behavior. They didn't change their
now on COVID. Didn't Dr. Bawumia say in this speech that despite COVID, this government has recorded an increase in revenue by 20% annually, 25%. Didn't he say that? Oko, didn't he say that? Yet he said that we did 3 weeks of lockdown. And we had closed the airports. We had closed. in spite of that, you got more tax revenue than you even got before COVID. 2019